Hey everybody, this is Ramon Ray, founder of SmartHustle.com, where we inspire and educate small business owners to start and grow their businesses so they can spend time loving the people they love, supporting their families, and supporting their communities. I'm so glad you're with me here today. If you're watching this video, hearing the sound of my voice, especially if it's on a podcast platform, give us a 5-star review. If you don't like what you're hearing, still give us a 5-star review. You got it, Camille. Either way, we like it. Today's a special segment. Most of the time, it's me talking to one business owner. Today, I get to talk to 3 amazing people, and we're going to dive into their businesses, what they're doing, and I'm so excited to have them with me today, and I'll let them self-introduce themselves. But 2 of them, the ladies, are heads of restaurant businesses, and one, the gentleman, is with Clover. I'll call it a technology company that provides point of sales and probably more solutions for small businesses. Camille, with that, can you just give us your full name, the name of your business, and take 10 to 20 seconds to just share with us what that business does? Camille, the floor is yours. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Ramon. My name's Camille Holder-Brown, and I'm here in Daytona Beach, Florida, and I'm the co-founder with my husband, Omar Brown, of Kale Cafe. We're a Jamaican-themed vegan restaurant.
I love it. I love it. Already sounds good, Jeff. Doesn't it sound like yummy already?
I'm starving.
Gladys, thanks for being here. Gladys, same thing. Feel free to give us your full name. What's the name of your business? And tell us a bit about it, Gladys, please.
Oh, thank you for having me, Ramon. My name is Gladys Harrison. I'm the owner of Big Mama's Kitchen and Catering. It's a second-generation soul food restaurant in Omaha, Nebraska.
I love it. And that is a point of distinction because many small businesses, I don't have the stats in front of me, but don't get past generation 1. So the fact that you're on generation 2, that's a great thing. Jeff Dickerson is the head of Clover. Jeff, say hi to us. Tell us a bit about you, about Clover, and what it does for small businesses, the retailers, and others that you serve. Jeff, the mic is yours.
Great, Ramon. Thank you, and ladies, thank you for sharing the stage with me. I head up Clover. We are a small and medium business platform, and I say platform more than a point of sale. Point of sale just takes card payment. What we do is provide all of the software and solutions so that folks like the 2 ladies on your show today can do what they do best, and that is serve their business, serve their customers, and do what they love. So what we try to do here at Clover is take the complicated and make it simple and make their lives more productive.
I love it. And Jeff, I want to turn to you first, and then Camille, I'm going to turn to you for the first question. But just to set the stage for us, Jeff, we're talking about point of sale solutions. There's a lot of things that retailers or restaurants need. Can you just spend a minute or two setting the stage? When you see a restaurant like Camille's and Gladys's, I'm sure there's a lot of issues. Hiring, I'm guessing, but again, Camille and Gladys will correct me. You're the experts, but hiring's an issue. If you're in a retail space, you got to have a store or retail location. There's the food, there's regulations, a lot of things. What are you seeing from your perspective, Jeff, you and your team, as you look at Camille, as you look at Gladys, and you're like, here's one thing we have to help you. Help us set the ground for the discussion today, if you understand what I'm asking.
Absolutely. We talked about, Ramon, before we went live here that, I see small and medium businesses like the 2 here, and it takes guts to open up your own business. It really does. You're on a wire without a net. And I believe that small businesses have the exact same needs as a Fortune 500 company, except they don't have the luxury of having 250 people in IT or another 100 people in operations. So what we do here is we have to, and what we preach here at Clover is the eloquence, it's in its simplicity. So you have to have payroll, you have to create a service, you have to have inventory, you have to have taxes, you have to, every single thing. And it's all has to be done very, very easily, but completely. So what we try to do is, again, the eloquence, it's in its simplicity. We have to give all the complex and give it a touch screen. We also have to adopt. So when COVID hits, online ordering, a lot of these restaurants were shutting the doors. I can't do it. We had to create the online ordering. We had to have the connections to the Grub Hubs and all of the others of the world. We had to continue to evolve and stay a half step ahead of our customers so they not only survive, but thrive.
I love it. That is powerful. Camille, I see you nodding your head. Gladys, I know it seems like you agree as well. Camille, I'll turn to you first. Give us the story, the background for your company, why it started, what the genesis is, why this business. Help us understand a bit about you and where you came from to be here today to get to speak to Jeff and Gladys about what's going on. Tell us your story, Camille, please, how you got here today.
Real quick, we've been in business for 9 years, which sounds crazy. I didn't,
Wow.
my background is in film. My husband's an engineer. He got laid off and we moved to Florida, and we saw that, like, cause he went to college here and I grew up here, and we noticed that a lot of people didn't know what vegetarian food was back then. Like, didn't know what tofu was. And, we didn't have a job. My husband didn't have a job. I was like, get a job. And he's like, I'm not getting a job. You get a job. And I'm like, we have like a bunch of little kids. What do you want me to do? And so we started kind of toting our kids to the farmer's market. And that's how we started. We started vending at the farmer's market. We had a Blend Tech blender, which is like a $400 blender.
Yeah.
Make our personal smoothies. And we started off with that. And then I had this really nice kale salad that I made, hence the name Kale Cafe. And we started just making things and sharing it with the community. And out of our love for that and the community kind of validating what we were doing, it just grew from there. We did a Kickstarter. And we raised like $20,000 on the Kickstarter, which of course wasn't nearly enough to get started, but that's how we started. I had a teacher donate $10,000, a local teacher, and she happened to also be Black, and she was a teacher at my elementary school that I grew up going to. So that's kind of how we started, and it's been very, we've had lots of hurricanes. We've actually had 3 locations and lots of failing our way forward. And so we kind of stabilized, and we just have the 1 location right now. And we've been really doing good. And we got linked up with Clover after running our business on another POS system. So I would say in our 8th year of business, we switched to Clover, and it's been really amazing and helpful. So that's kind of like our.
I love it. I love it from hubby and wife, you get a job, to having some beautiful kids, to Kickstarter, to farmer's market, and then to having a retail location. I love it. And by the way, Jeff or Camille or Gladys, is it called retail location, or do I use the word restaurant? What do the cool people use? I want to be cool.
Brick and mortar.
Oh.
Brick and mortar is what, because a lot of people have low overhead costs because they have a food truck.
Okay.
But Gladys and I have light bills, water bills, gas bills, lots of employees to pay, lots of insurances to pay,
Yes.
ice machines to fix. I don't even have.
Gladys is amening you, Camille. She's amening you. And Jeff is too. All right, Gladys, talk to us about your business. You're 2nd generation, ironically, which is a good thing. So there's a story behind that. Help us understand where you've been and what brought you here today, Gladys. Tell us your story.
All right. Well, where we've been, Big Mama's Kitchen and Catering was started by my mother, Patricia Big Mama Barron. My mother loved to cook, and she loved to feed people. We started our business out of her home. She was in corporate America all of her life, but food was therapeutic for her, and she enjoyed feeding people. And she started out decorating cakes. Then that turned into catering weddings and catering birthday parties. And we did it out of the kitchen at her house, hence the name of our restaurant, Big Mama's Kitchen. When she was 65, there was 5 of us girls. We were all grown and gone, and she had done everything she wanted to do in life except open up a restaurant. And so we told her, well, let's start selling dinners out of your house on Saturdays. And we would invite her friends and our family, and you could come and sit down at her kitchen table and eat, or you could take your food to go. And we did that for about a year. And my dad's like, you got to get all these strange people out of my house. And we moved it to the church, Now, mind you, none of these things were legal back then, but we did it anyway, And then in 2007, we opened the doors to our first restaurant, and we've been going ever since. 14 years. Just as Camille, thank you. Just as Camille said, there were people that helped. We had people that bought tablecloths for us. My mother loved leopard. She said leopard was an attitude and a feeling and a color, not a print. And so we had these really nice leopard tablecloths at our old restaurant. So we had people that donated those. People came and worked for us for free. So I certainly understand what Camille said. We didn't have a lot of money. We made a whole bunch of mistakes in the beginning. But I can tell you everything not to do when you want to open up a restaurant.
Well, I want to hear that too. I want to hear that. We'll get to that in our second round, but go ahead, please.
Here we are 14 years later. My mother passed away in 2008. She worked every day up until she couldn't work anymore. And now my sisters who are still living, and my children and some of my sister's children and my grandson, who you saw a little bit ago, we are running the restaurant now.
I'm so happy she got to see it see it come to fruition while she was alive.
Absolutely. Congratulations to both of you. Jeff, I'm curious from your perspective, and I do want to hear about everything not to do. Gladys and Camille, we'll start there. But Jeff, when you hear these conversations about, it seems to me two themes I'm hearing: the accidental entrepreneur. Camille, I'm not saying she didn't know what she was doing, but kind of it was steps, right? Let's do this. Let's try this. I'm sure there was a lot of figuring it out. Gladys is kind of echoing the same thing. We started in our home, went to the church, and then we got a brick and mortar location. Is this a common story of your, is this what you're hearing a lot? Or are you hearing anybody that's like, no, we got $10 billion from, my dad, and then we just opened up 50 stores across America? Camille's like, Ramon, please.
No. The stories that you hear today are more prevalent than not. It's funny. There's a circuitous route. People come to their own businesses through different avenues and everything. But the one thing that they all share is a passion. And you can't teach passion and you can't fake passion. You either have it or you don't. Now, I've never eaten at Gladys's mom's house, but I promise you that food is damn good because she was passionate. She was, excited about it, and that translates to food. It's you add some other things like Phil talked about. I noticed there wasn't a vegan location here, and she saw an opportunity to match with a passion. But the one thing I wrote down, Camille said, and Gladys echoed, is we were failing our way forward.
That's right.
I'm stealing that, by the way. Yeah. They're failing your way forward. And here's the difference. Entrepreneurs and small, medium businesses take a fail not as it's an obstacle, I'm taking my ball and going home. They quickly learn from it and improve on it. Those who fail quickly, learn from it, and improve tend to do really, really well. So those are speed bumps, not roadblocks. And that's what differentiates. And the reason they're here 14 and 9 years is because of that attitude and passion.
I love it. You are so true, Jeff. I love it. And Camille, I see your smile. I'm coming to you in a minute. Gladys, you challenged us and said, listen, I can tell you everything not to do. I wish we had 6 days to hear the whole story, but in a few minutes, what are the top 2 or 3 or 4 things that you're thinking about over time? I'll give you time to think. You think, Ramon, here's 3 or 4 or 5, whatever it is, things that that really were pillars that we shouldn't do. Let's talk about the hardships a bit. What are some things you're like to tell your brethren and sisters? Camille's getting ready, Jeff, to tell your brothers and sisters. What are those things you would write down? Go ahead, Gladys.
So the first rule, or the first thing that I learned, is do not try to do yourself the job of professionals. I did not go to accounting school. I am not an accountant. I did not learn how to process payroll. I didn't know how to file taxes. I am certainly not an attorney or an insurance agent. Those 3 things, paying people to do what they're trained to do, like having an attorney, having an accountant, a bookkeeper, and an insurance agent, are really important. And having a relationship with the bank. We didn't have one early on. My mom took all of her retirement money. I took some of my early retirement money and a bunch of credit cards. And that's how we opened, the business. And we struggled those first few years because of that. We didn't have a relationship with the bank. We built one later on, and what a lot of people found out, the onset of the coronavirus is not having a relationship with the bank, can really put your business under. And the third thing I'll say is to take time for yourself. One thing that I've learned in the last 2 years is that I cannot work 7 days a week. Prior to the coronavirus, I was. 10, 12 hours a day. And nothing is worth not spending time with my grandson, and watching him grow up, and not getting the proper rest that you need. Our bodies weren't designed to go nonstop. And so those would be the top three.
No, you're right. And I love it. I think listen, we are here, and I'm sure Jeff sees this with his customers. Camille may echo this as well. We're here not to have our business, not to be slaves to our business. We're here so our business serve us. That's what I always said about my own small business, right? With Smart Hustle and my team. My business to serve me so I can live the life I want. Gladys, I love that. Camille, you've been writing now for 6 hours, and I'm sure you have 75 bullet points. The floor is yours. What are some of the challenges, the big markers that you can see in your business, mistakes, as it were, that you've made that you can share with us so we can learn from you? Talk to us.
She said everything. I kid you not. The name of my restaurant is Kale Cafe.
Okay.
I cannot tell you that I was like a slave to my restaurant for over 8 years. And I would type Kale Cage. Like instead of cafe, that G would go instead of the F all the time. And I felt like I was in like time to go to the beach. We were open 10 a.m. to 7 or 8 p.m. And I used to tell my husband, these hours are it's too much. We have 6 kids. I'm like, this isn't, and then after, during the pandemic, we decreased our hours from 11 to 6, and we haven't looked back. And we're closed on Monday, so that's our down day. We're open on Sunday. We make the same amount of money in 4 hours that we used to make on, and just work smarter, not harder, And the same thing that Miss Gladys said, like, I cannot tell you, I'm still paying, I still have tax arrangements from when I made mistakes, using my payroll taxes as operating money. I remember when my bank account was frozen, like I woke up and it was frozen because I was so behind on my sales tax. Now I have my sales tax automated with my Clover system, comes out daily, with Davo. A payroll company, and I tell people, I'm like, don't try to do that stuff. The mistakes you make are going to cost you so much more money. Just outsource it. I can get on my phone, on my cell phone, and I used to do this while I was nursing babies, and I would do my payroll, and I'd just be like doing it on my phone and stuff. But like, it's even simpler now. I don't worry about any of the payroll. All of that's done for me. It's all integrated, and it saves me so much more time. And I have time to dance. I go dancing, I have dance class. I get my toes done, not often. But I try to like have balance, because if you're not taking care of yourself, how can you take care of your business? And your business is a reflection of you. So if you're looking disheveled, your business looks disheveled and run down. You gotta be a reflection of you. My restaurant is very bright colors, Caribbean colors, and the people that I hire are a reflection of us, my husband and I. I'm grateful now during the week. I am not, if they need to do something, or if I have to grab something or do a catering, I'll come in. But I do not have to be there. I do not have to always be there anymore. I can if I want to. On the weekends, I come in and visit and see people, and I work and I'll cook, but I don't have to cook during the week at all. And I don't. And it's definitely a shift from how it used to be. So I'm so grateful for experience and systems and growth.
Freedom. I was like, you took me to church. Jeff, when you hear this, and you and your team, I know you have a team, Jeff, you're not going to fun, but when you hear representing Clover, are you seeing this echoed? I mean, talk to us. You've heard it, Jeff. What do you think about what you've heard, Jeff?
Yeah, just to put things in perspective, we have shipped over 2 million Clovers worldwide.
Wow.
And last year alone, we did over $200 billion in card processing through all the businesses such as Gladys's and Camille. So we do have a pretty good lens into things. And
I think so.
I'll add a couple things. So 100% dead on. Davo and all the taxes, you get in such a frenzy. Oh my God, I got people coming in and they're buying their stuff. I got to make more. I got to get inventory. I got to marketing. I got all these things going. All of a sudden you get someone's knocking at your door. Hello, well, you owe sales tax. What do you mean? So the automation and setting it up, and again, that's what we try to do, is make their life easier so it automatically gets diverted. Every dollar comes in and you don't worry about it. And we hear that all the time. I absolutely hear and reiterate, if you don't sharpen a knife, it doesn't cut. So you have to take time off. You got to recharge, whatever it is, you have to do that. But then you were hitting on something that to me is the next level. This is like your PhD in small business, and that is data. So Phil, you mentioned something that just I had to write down. You said that we make more money in 4 hours than we do on another day. That's interesting. I'm going to come back to that. Gladys had mentioned, we're growing all these things, and I'm sitting there, all right, she's got all these fresh ingredients coming in. They have limited shelf life. Some people in restaurants say, I'm just going to have this huge menu that requires all these different ingredients. Well, if they don't get ordered, you have tremendous waste. So can you get like a fish, a beef, or chicken, or tofu, whatever it is, and have that through many dishes? So that is the optimization. And the thing that I would lend to anybody who's willing to listen is look at some data. You don't have to have artificial intelligent PhDs in your back room. You know your business. So sit back and pause a little and go, okay, when do I make my most money? Is it between 11 and such and such? What does it happen to the holidays? Holidays don't change, throughout the year. Is it a boom to my business, or am I sitting there like, where is everybody? So maybe you close during that time. Just step back and look at the flow of your business. Also look at the flow of ingredients that come into your business. And, can you optimize your menu? Still presenting a huge selection, but maybe not as many ingredients, just a different lineup of those ingredients. And you start looking at that data. And in the beginning, they talked about, payroll, legal, electrical, all this other stuff. That's big levers. Now you're going to get to fine tuning it. And the fine tuning is when all the money goes to your pocket. Okay. So the big part is to stop the hemorrhaging and get the more coming in than going out. Then you fine tune it. And that's what you have to do. And then lastly, the real altar is never stop innovating. People will come to your place because they just love the meatloaf, they love the veggie platter, whatever it is, they love, but they also want new. So don't stop innovating. Trying something new all the time and attracting it gives something to talk about, gives something to go. And then lastly, from a personal standpoint, I've traveled the world for business, and I've had some amazing meals. I've had some clunkers. And the ones that is interesting is truly the place you feel at home.
Yes.
So it's your service. So your big smile, a genuine, how are you today? Not how are you and then vector off, because they really don't care. So, that sincerity that you can't fake, that passion, you go to a place where, you feel like it's home.
That's true.
Camille, were you going to add something? I wasn't sure. I was looking. Did you have your hand up, or are you just smiling? Were going to add something?
I was. These are some great points. I was taking notes again.
No problem.
I don't remember what I was going to add.
That's okay. It's whatever it was. I'm sure it's going to be good. Gladys, please.
Well, no, I want to chime in and say that the data has been wonderful that we can get from our Clover system.
Oh, good.
The POS that I had before Clover, I had bought it used, and I knew nothing about it. When we first opened up the restaurant, I had a Casio cash register, that you had to sit there and press the buttons.
Ouch.
Program. And when we bought a POS system, it was used. I didn't know anything about it. It was so antiquated. It wasn't even funny. And for me to go pull a report, like, how many two-piece chickens did we sell today? I had to go get a little SD card and download the information from the POS and take it back to my office and run this fancy Excel macro to get. It would take forever. And so now I can be at the roller skating rink with my grandson, because he loves to roller skate, and I can on my phone and find out exactly how many two-piece oven fried chickens we sold, what time we sold them in. I can see, who clocked in late, who clocked in on time. Everything I can do from here. Getting Clover for us was a game changer. My time is my most valuable possession, and it has been a godsend. The last thing that I'll say is, prior to the coronavirus, we were more, of a come sit down, and eat and come sit a spell. That was our, motto. And then we had to switch to takeout, and we had to change like everything. And I called my Clover sales rep, and I'm giving a plug for him, Justin Segabar.
Justin, woo!
I'm like, I need a credit card a machine so that the customer and I don't have to touch their card. I need something contactless. I need to be able to order online, and between him and the customer support at Clover and all the apps that are available that work with the Clover station, we were able to thrive these last couple of years. And the last thing I'll say is not only the apps that Clover has available, but I've got other tools that I use. Like we have, you can buy our cornbread mix online and our no salt seasoning that we use on the chicken. And I use Equid for my shopping cart. And Equid works with Clover, and I love it. I love it. At Thanksgiving time, we can prepare some of your Thanksgiving meal or all of your meal. And between Equid and Clover, I'm able to take all of these orders, for deep fried turkeys. This year, we've deep fried like 40 turkeys. So Clover has just been a game changer for Big Mamas. It really, really has.
I love it. Camille, were you going to add anything? Please.
So, Miss Gladys, do you use your inventory? Do you use your inventory on Clover? Because I like being able to change the prices, because sometimes I'll look at my thing and I'll be like, oh, they raised the price. And I was like, I can't keep selling it at this price. I got to raise it a quarter. I have to raise the price. And so I'll just go in there and I'll be like, I've raised the price a quarter.
Yeah.
But like the inventory, I have not like mastered. One day I received the bottles of a drink that we use, but like keeping up with it and doing regular inventory and itemizing each recipe so it subtracts and it knows. I'm not fully using that. Do you use it?
I'll just add to that, the actual inventory of my products, how much flour do I have?
Yeah.
I do use my food vendors app for that because they also help me do the pricing. However, I do pay really close attention to the information I get from Clover, as to how many pieces of cornbread we sold today. And is the tea, moving faster, or is it moving slower? Okay, the tea's moving slower, so we need to make less tea, because we want the tea to be fresh all the time. Even with we'll bring out a special, and because I have those numbers in real time, how good the special does, that lets me know, hey, this is something we need to keep around for a little bit, or no, we didn't sell any of those, right. So take them off the list. So, for me being this little bitty company, and to be able to have access to information like I was a big chain restaurant is wonderful. Absolutely wonderful.
Which is what Jeff hinted, I think, at the beginning. He said that, a few times. Gladys and Camille and Jeff, this is great. We have about 3 minutes to go. I want to honor some commitments that I know some of you have, I have. So I want to end this amazing discussion. This means that we'll have two things, Gladys and Camille. One, we'll have to have the three of you back again. And then two, I don't really know how the food tastes, and I'm not sure if Jeff does, but this means Clover will have to fly me and Jeff to Camille's restaurant and to Gladys's restaurant to taste it. And maybe Jeff and I will have a contest of customer service, like who can have the biggest smile and get the biggest tips. We'll see. We'll talk about that offline. So
barbecue that I just pulled out the smoke.
We got to get. We're going to buy the tickets today, Jeff. You and I are going to buy tickets today.
We got to go.
All right, listen. Before we end here, real quick, I want to end on. I was going to ask about the opportunities, but I think we've covered that, because if we do the reverse of the challenges, talking about hiring the right people, talking about using the technology, talking about innovating and other things we shared. But let's talk about family. I just feel Camille, you have 6 children, beautiful children. Gladys, you've mentioned your grandson, I believe it is. I think grandson, right? Gladys, okay, yeah, grandson a few times. Let's just end on that. Camille, how important is family to you? What do you think about them? Just whatever you want to share. I just feel to ask about family. Gladys, I'll turn to you. And then Jeff, I'll end with you. But Gladys, Camille, please, family. Why is that so important?
Well, I'm inspired by Gladys. The fact that this is their second generation. My grandmother too loved to cook, but I think me opening up a restaurant is kind of actualizing a dream that my grandmother and my mom have. And my mom and my and my godmother actually come and volunteer at my restaurant from time to time, which I love. And my mom bosses me around, you know. And
Of course he does.
but my daughter that started off helping me bake when she was about 8, because I actually make her help pay for her dance classes.
For you.
And so she's been baking since she was 8. But now she's on my payroll and she bakes all by herself. And she's a phenomenal baker. And then I have a almost 13-year-old daughter that she also bakes. And it's like we work this hard in the beginning to get it going because we want to be able to pass on generational wealth to our children. And you know, you do things as an entrepreneur because you love it. If we didn't love it, like when people weren't coming into the store and we were just basically during the pandemic feeding, giving away food and donating food to the hospital and stuff, it's because you love it. You keep doing it because there's definitely times when you're like, oh my gosh, what am I doing with my life? Why am I doing this? And then you remember you love it, or you see, you watch people's kids grow up. If you've been in business that long too, Gladys, you see kids go off to college, you see your customers getting married and having babies, and you're like, yeah, I'm getting old, but you're like, I've been in business. I'm doing more than serving food, and it makes you feel really good. It's really rewarding, and I'm just really grateful. So again, my family is my inspiration, and my husband and I have been married now. This will be 18 years that we haven't killed each other in the restaurant business. So
Camille, that was awesome. Gladys, talk about family. What does family mean to you, especially as your second generation, your grandson? Talk about why family is so, or how it is so important to you, please.
Well, Big Mama's was our foundation is family. It was started by my mom and my sisters and I, and all of her grandchildren have worked here. Some of her great grandchildren have worked here, and I can't wait for my grandson to work here. And we've been here 14 years. I know we'll be here 14 or more years, particularly if we keep something like Clover. What I think about the most important thing is I want to be able to hand this restaurant off to my daughter or her son, when I'm ready to retire. And the simpler it is to take over the business, the more likely that my children or grandchildren will do it. I can remember when they were smaller, they would see me back there with all the papers and the pens and, trying to crunch the numbers. And now I do everything, on my cell phone. And because Clover makes it easy, Clover makes it easy. And my daughter likes to cook and she likes to bake. And so if that's what she can focus on and not paying taxes, not doing payroll, not making sure people clocked in, she can cook and bake. And I know that she'll want to take over the business, once I'm done, because she doesn't have to worry about those, those kind of day-to-day things. She can focus on the good food and the customers, like we would want her to do.
That is powerful. Please, Camille, please.
And Jeff, I just would be remiss if I didn't say, thank you for the Back to Business grant. That was the best. Last year I did get your grant, and I also got another grant, and it actually helped us. We purchased a building last year.
Oh, that's great.
We purchased a building on a street that Black people couldn't come on years ago.
Mm.
And to not only have had the first and only Black business on my street now and purchase an actual piece of real estate on waterfront property that I can give to my children one day was like, it just leveled us up. And I'm just so grateful for that. So thank you so much for that opportunity to give us that $10,000 grant.
The pleasure is all ours.
Jeff, talk to us. Jeff, I'm sure you have family, but more importantly, Jeff, but take this wherever you want to go as we end. You're listening to people talking about their family. So Clover, Jeff, the company you represent, is impacting not just Camille and Gladys right in front of us, but you're impacting generational wealth possibly as well. I didn't want to take it there, but this is what I feel to take it. So Jeff, talk to us about family from your perspective and Clover's perspective.
Family. I have two families. I have my Clover, and we have over 1,000 folks worldwide. And I have my own family.
Yeah.
And I'll share with you this: food and cooking is more than just sustainability and nutrition. It is a bonding mechanism, and it's more than that. I about 8 years ago lost my wife, and I have two girls. One was first week in 7th grade, and the first week as a senior in high school. And so I'm a single dad, and they love to cook with their mom. And we're from Cape Cod area, so seafood's a big part of it. So, and I traveled a lot, so we made alterations, we made changes. And my little one, every Friday night, I'd get in time. We had a cooking contest, her and I. So we would have a base. It would be, noodles, rice, couscous, whatever. And we each had our own competition. The winner didn't have to clean up. I still don't understand. 5 years, I cleaned up every time. Why is my 13-year-old the only judge? But it was a bonding. It was awesome. The kitchen is the most important place in a house. And let me correct that, in a home.
Yes.
Houses, it could be some other part, but in a real home, just like the kitchens that Gladys and Camille had mentioned, it's more than just nutrition. And it's super cool. So one of the things we're hearing at Clover is when I listen to these stories here, particularly in a restaurant, we have over 200,000 restaurants, ranging from food trucks up to who's who in major restaurants. It is the passion. It is a passion around food. Gladys started off by saying her mom loved to cook for people. And the reward you get, the emotional reward, the camaraderie reward, and it's I still remember Sunday dinners. My mom had you showed up on time, your hands were washed, and you acted like ladies and gentlemen, or you get dope slapped. So I don't know if I can say that in a podcast. That's what happened, and it was the best. So these restaurants are nothing but extensions of family and home. And one of the things I talked about earlier is the common theme I'm seeing here, particularly in the restaurants and the successful ones, is people feel incredibly welcome in addition to having some great food.
Wow. This conversation has to have a part 2. Camille, thank you so much with Kale Cafe. Gladys Harrison with Big Mamas.
Oh, yep. Big Mamas.
Yes, I love it. And Jeff Dickerson with Clover. This has been a great discussion. I'm Ramon Ray, founder of SmartHustle.com. We're talking about family, food, and love here. If you're hearing the sound of our voice, definitely give us a rating. But listen, what a great way to end the discussion. This is what I do. I love telling stories of entrepreneurs and the businesses that they work with. So again, thank you all for listening to the Smart Hustle podcast.
Thanks, guys.